I'll now introduce County Commissioner Ann Howard. Thank you, County Commissioner.
Thank you so much. Thanks to everybody who have helped put this symposium together. And thanks to Mayor Pro Tem Allison Alter, who's been a leader and a great teacher to the rest of us on what we need to be doing and how to do it. I also want to give a shout out to my colleague, Bridget Shea. Commissioner Shea has been a leader in so many things for us here in Travis County, but really helping us understand the nexus between climate change and disasters and how we need to prepare. When I was running for office back in 2019, 2020, I think we were watching the fires in Australia at the time. And it's so important that we understand the threat is real and that we can prepare. When Mayor Pro Tem Alter used her hands and talked about the ring of wildfire threat around Austin, that ring to me is Travis County and our neighboring counties. And we have professionals that are ready. You're going to hear later from firefighters and fire leadership that are going to tell you that, we're getting ready, that we have tools and strategies to fight fire. But it's our job, every single one of us on this call, to help prevent the damage that the fire will do. We must be ready to protect what we love and care about. Over the last year, I've learned a lot from our fire marshal's office. You'll hear from our assistant fire marshal, Will Bittner, and what he's taught me, and we've tried to then message to the community, is that each of us needs to look at our home, our surroundings, and do what we can to harden our home, is the technical word, to fire. And we boiled that down to the three C's. We need to check our surroundings, we need to clear the fuel to fire, and we need to communicate what we're doing to our neighbors and our family, because that fence that's between you and the neighbor could indeed be the connector from your fire to theirs or their fire to yours. So we've in this area, we've been through, some fires, and we've been through Storm Uri that taught us the importance of knowing our neighbor and knowing our community resources, the strengths to our community, to help us build resiliency by knowing each other, by having the tools ready to help, and by understanding how we can help our neighbor. Tomorrow, Assistant Fire Marshal Will Bittner will be out teaching about 22 neighbors who have volunteered to learn what they can do to help their neighbors be safer from fire. We're going to be doing home ignition zone assessments. I'm sure you'll hear more about those later in the presentation. But I really believe it's this sort of one-on-one training and train the trainer approach that we as community leaders need to take, so that we are leveraging the professionals and their wisdom and experience. We've got to help excite this community to prepare for fire. Another thing we've been doing that I think is so important is talking to our fire chiefs across the county about when there isn't a disaster, an emergency, what are problems they identify that we need to fix so that the next emergency goes smoother. And after Storm Uri, which, was not a fire experience, but it did become a life and death experience and a time when we needed to get first responders into neighborhoods. And we learned then that there were many roads that were not maintained really by anybody. And we need to improve our roads. And so the Travis County Commissioners Court recently passed a resolution to take a look at our unmaintained roads and see how we can, more quickly address more roads so that in the next emergency and disaster, we could take that problem off the table. Another thing we're looking at is with the infrastructure bill, the ones that have passed in Washington and the ones that are yet to pass, There's millions of dollars that's promised to come to communities to help with infrastructure, including water infrastructure. And obviously, we all know that one way you have to fight fire is with water. And so there's funding available in Texas right now, and there's promise to have more that we need to be going after and bringing to our communities to help improve, update water infrastructure. Mayor Pro Tem Allison talked about the WUI code and the work they've done there. When Commissioner Shea leads on this conversation in Travis County Commissioner's Court, when there's a new subdivision planned, we want to make sure that there's not only water for fire flow, but that there's two ways in or more than one way in and out of any new neighborhood, that they're using sprinklers in homes, that there's fire hydrants if there's the water flow. And so I think what I'm taking from our work at the court and what I'm hearing the city do and our fire professionals, we need to throw everything we have at this. We want to be the commissioners, the leaders on television that said, thank God we were ready. And not the ones who said, we knew it was going to happen and we didn't do enough. So I appreciate the opportunity to learn together tonight, and for all the good work that's been done and for the work we'll continue to do, and for all the volunteers who are stepping up to make their neighborhoods fire-wise. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Howard and Mayor Pro Tem Alter, for providing that leadership intent and your perspective. We know that if you're here with us tonight, that our community should really take this issue serious. So thank you for reinforcing the need for everyone in our community to prepare for wildfire. Next up, we have Brad Smith, who's the Department Head of Predictive Services with the Texas A&M